Good day. Today's video is dedicated to collecting like terms. Before we can start collecting like terms, we need to know exactly what a term is. And what does it mean when terms are like or the same? In order to do that, we're going to start looking at key vocabulary. The first one is a variable. A variable is a letter that represents an unknown number. Let's take the letter Y, for example. That's going to be our variable. Whenever we see a letter, that is a variable. It varies depending on what number is inserted there. A constant is a number that has no variables with it. It is just a number that stays the same in every sentence. So let's take the constant 2 as an example. Next up, we have a term. A term is a combination of a variable and a constant put together. When you have the variable and the constant together, the constant is no longer called a constant, but it's called a coefficient. So the coefficient is the number in front of variables when they are multiplied together. So in our term, let's use the coefficient 6. And in our term, we're going to use 6y. So 6y is our term. Our constant is 2 and our coefficient is 6 in the term 6y. And finally, we have an algebraic expression. An algebraic expression is a number, or it's a set of numbers that are added or subtracted together. So in this instance, we can have 6y, which is a term consisting of a constant or coefficient and a variable. 6y plus 2. 6 is our coefficient, y is our variable, plus 2 is going to be our constant. Altogether, this is an expression, and 2 alone and 6y alone are each going to be our terms. What we're going to do is we're going to look at a number of questions. So this is exercise 3A. We're going to start with question 1. Let's start with 1C. So 1C says to us m minus 2 plus 5. What I need to do is I need to identify. Remember, we've got different steps. So the first thing is we identify like terms. And our like terms have got the same variables. So constants go together and variables go together. And variables are different depending on their exponents. So let's just start with what we have. M minus 2 plus 5. Minus 2, notice that I include my sign, and plus 5 are constants, and my constants are going to be blue. And then I have m alone, and m is going to be green, and these two are going to be by themselves. So let's start with answering question C, and question C is going to say m by itself, and then we have plus minus 2 plus 5 in brackets. So my answer is going to be m plus, what is minus 2 plus 5? Now remember, we can use a number line to do this. If I'm starting at negative 2 and I'm jumping 5 jumps, so I've got a whole lot of different numbers. This is 0, that's 2, that's 4. So I'm jumping 5. Starting at negative 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm jumping in that direction because that's the positive direction. So my answer is going to be 3. And that's my final answer. Let's try question D. Question D says x plus 1 plus x. The first thing I do is I look for like terms. So my x and my x are both variables that go together, and my constant is going to go alone. So I'm going to say x plus x in brackets, and then I'm going to add my constant plus 1. And x plus x equals 2x plus 1. That's my final answer, because there's a 1 in front of the x and a 1 in front of the x. So I have 1 apple plus 1 apple gives me 2 apples. Let's look at question H. A minus 5A. That gives me, I'm looking for like terms. I've got an A there, so I'm going to circle all of that. And I've got an A there, so I'm going to circle all of that. So they are like terms. I can add them together. So A minus 5A, let's do a number line. On my number line, I am starting at positive 1. I have 0, I have minus 2, and minus 4. So I'm starting at positive 1 and I'm subtracting 5 because I've got a minus there. So that minus tells me subtract 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That leaves me at an answer of negative 4. Let's do question G. I skipped G. Okay, so question G says 5A minus A. So 5A minus A, the first thing I see is that my variables are the same, therefore I just take it as the same. 5 apples minus 1 apple. And if I do it on a number line, we know that, okay, so let's do the number line there. If that is 5 and I take away 1, then I have 4 left. So that answer is going to be 4A, or 4 apples. So those are the first 4 in this set that I've done for you. Let's look at the remaining 4. Okay, K reads 5G plus 5. I notice that 5G is a term with a coefficient and a variable, whereas 5 is only a constant, and this is a coefficient. Therefore, they cannot be added together. 5G plus 5 is equal to 5G plus 5. Next up, question L says x squared minus 5x squared plus 5. If I'm looking for like terms, I notice that I have x squared over there and I have negative 5x squared. So this is going to be equal to x squared minus 5x squared in brackets plus the constant 5. So if I use my number line and I start at the number 1 and there's 0, minus 2, minus 4. I am going to start at 1 and I am subtracting 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My answer is going to be negative 4x squared plus my 5 that's there plus 5 constants. And that's my final answer. Collecting like terms. Let's look at question O. Question O says 4xy plus xy. So if there's no number written, we know it's the number 1. Xy and xy are the same. Let's think of it as making a smoothie. If I have a smoothie in which I have an apple and a banana, apple, banana, apple, banana. Therefore, they are the same. 4xy plus xy, same constants, so I add them together. 4 plus 1 equals 5xy. Question P states 3x squared z minus x squared z. So I look at my variables. X squared z and x squared z are the same. Therefore, these two can be added or subtracted to each other. They are like terms. So once I know that, I know my answer is going to be x squared z. What I need to know is what is the coefficient going to be. 3 minus 1 is equal to 2. My answer is 2x squared z. Next up, let's have a look at question 2. So question 2 gives us negative 7a minus 7. And what we are trying to do is we are collecting like terms. So if I'm doing that, 7a minus 7 is not got any like terms, so it stays the same. P squared minus p squared, 4p squared minus p squared. 4 minus 1 is going to be equal to 3p squared, because p squared and p squareds are like terms. They are the same. I'm looking at them. That's the same as that one. So I can add and subtract them. Next up, we have got, this is question I, 2y minus x plus 3y plus 3. So first things first, I identify my like terms. Here I've got y, and here I've got y. I include the sign, and then I identify my x's, including the sign minus x, and then I identify my constants on its own. So let's start with our blue. 2y plus 3y goes together, and then I add my x's, which is going to be minus x, and then I add my constant, which is going to be plus 3. Now I can calculate it. 2y plus 3y is going to equal 5y, plus, or I can eliminate the plus and just write minus. So this one ends up being minus x plus 3. Therefore my answer is 5y minus x plus 3. Let's look at question L. Question L says x squared plus 2x minus x squared minus 5. Now notice that I have x's and I have x squared. Are they the same terms? Are they alike? No, they are not. So let's highlight our x squares in blue, and next up we're looking for our x's alone, and then finally our constant alone. So we're going to add them together, or place them, group them together in brackets. X squared minus x squared goes together, plus 2x on its own, plus minus 5 by himself. Once I've got this, I am able to calculate it. So x squared minus x squared, 1 minus 1 is equal to 0. So this one ends up being 0. Plus 2x remains the same, and my 5 minus 5 stays the same. So my answer in this instance is going to be 2x minus 5. That's my final answer. And lastly, let's look at question O. If I have 2x squared minus 3x minus x squared minus 7x, first thing that I do is I identify my like terms. So I start with the first one, and my first one is 2x squared. I have x squared. That's what I'm looking at, including the square. Next up, I look for x squared. There's another x squared. Now I change my color. I'm looking for the second term, negative 3x. Any more x's? Yes, negative 7x. All of my numbers have been identified. They each have a color. Now I'm grouping them. So this is going to be equal to 2x squared minus 1x squared. I'm also going to add the green ones, which is going to be negative 3x, negative 7x. And now I calculate. 2x squared minus 1x is going to be equal to 2 minus 1, which is 1. So just x squared. Plus minus 3x. So I'm adding that. Minus 3x minus 7. If you owe me 3 rand and you come and buy for credit for another 7 rand, then you owe me 7 plus 3, which is 10. So owing me is in a negative. It's negative 10x. Let me do it on our number line. On a number line, we've got minus 3 and we're going to jump 10 jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So minus 3, minus 4, minus 6, minus 8, minus 10. Oh, I jumped too many. Let's look at this on a number line. So here I've got minus 3 and I'm jumping 7 times to the left. So I'm jumping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's minus 4, minus 5, minus 6, minus 7, minus 8, minus 9, minus 10. So my final answer is going to be negative 10x. And put it together, x squared minus 10x. So I can remove that minus and the brackets. X squared, that plus. X squared minus 10x. And let's look at the questions on number 3 of your assignment. So on number 3, let's start with 3C. 3C tells us we've got 3AB minus 2AB plus BA. Oh my goodness. I've got AB, AB, BA. Are they like terms? Now think about it. Whenever we are doing this, we have to write our letters in alphabetical order. So in order for me to know if these are like terms, I have to write it in alphabetical order. And BA is not in alphabetical order. So I'm going to start by saying 3AB minus 2AB plus AB. And all of a sudden, it makes sense. They are all like terms. Why is this possible? Because if I say 2 times 5, this is the same as saying 5 times 2. They are both equal to 10. So if I say A times B, it is the same as saying B times A. Let's calculate this. Because now I already know they are all like terms, I'm going to add them all together. I know my answer is going to end in the variables A, B. Now let's add 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So it ends up being 2AB. Final answer. Let's look at question F. I've got 3A plus 7 minus 2A minus 10. Are we able to collect like terms? Let's start. 3A is going to be blue. Do I have any other A's? Yes, I have minus 2A. So that becomes 3A minus 2A. Those two go together. Plus my next like terms. I have the constant plus 7 and the constant plus minus 10. So plus 7 minus 10 goes together. So now I'm going to calculate it. This is going to be equal to 3 minus 2A is going to be 3 minus 2 is just 1A. And then 7 minus 10, let's try a number line. So if I've got positive 7 and I'm jumping to the negative 10 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's going to be minus, that's going to be 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. So my answer is going to be minus 3. And that's my final answer. A minus 3. Let's look at I. I says I've got 2A squared minus 3A minus 2A squared plus 3A cubed. 3A cubed. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to circle 2A squared. Do I have any more 2A squared? Yes, I've got A squared over there. And let's have a look at our A cubed. So I've got negative A cubed there and positive 2A cubed. So let's put them. I've identified them. Now I group them together. 2A squared minus 1A squared plus, what happens next? Let's see. We've got negative A cubed plus 2A cubed. This gives me a response of 2A squared minus A squared is 1A squared plus minus A cubed plus 2. So this is going to be minus 1 on the number line. There's 0. I've got minus 1. I started minus 1 and I'm adding 2. So adding is in this direction. 1, 2. So my answer is going to be 1. It's just A cubed. My answer is A squared plus a cubed. And finally, our last example for today is going to be L, which is 4x cubed minus 2x squared minus x cubed minus x squared. So I start with my colors. 4x cubed. Do I have any more x cubed? Yes, I've got there x to the power of 3. And let's look at our x squared minus 2x squared and 1x squared. Next up, I've identified them, so the next step is going to be to group them together. This is going to be equal to 4x cubed minus x cubed plus minus 2x squared minus x squared. And next up, I add them together. So 4 minus 1 is going to be 3x cubed, and minus 2 minus x minus 1 is going to be minus 3. Let's do a number line quickly. So if I start with minus 2 and I take one jump to the left, it gives me minus 3. Remember, minus is in the left direction. Minus 2 minus 1 is minus 3. So that becomes plus negative 3x squared. And that's my final answer. I hope this video helped you. This should be clear enough to help you to do your homework. Once again, please use colors. Colors are very helpful. They help us to be able to see what we are doing. Thank you very much. I wish you a very good day.